mentioned, at Remote Base, what we do basically is match top talented software engineers with Silicon Valley-based clients. So you come in, it doesn't matter where you are, as long as you know your stuff, right? You're a great, awesome software engineer. We welcome you to Remote Base, right? So currently we're recruiting for specific skills, stacks, right? And one of the reasons why we're having this session with you guys is so that we could empower you with as much information and as much resources that you would require to go through a hiring process and be successful, right? We currently have like a team distributed in Nigeria. We have most of our team members in Lagos who are anyway software engineers, right? We're hoping we'll have a lot of people from Edo State as well, because we know what you guys are doing in terms of developing the whole ecosystem over there, right? And also having awesome talent as well in the engineering field. So we're looking at having as much of you guys who are great engineers join Remote Base, right? Tofumi will be telling you about our hiring process, while Jedidiah will be giving you like an insight from an engineer's perspective on how to ace the test and the interviews, what you need to know basically. So I'm with a very solid team here, and do ask questions where you want to ask questions. Just drop them in the chat and we'll answer all the questions. So basically, we're a remote company. We're solely a remote company. So like I said, it doesn't matter where you are, as long as you have the talent, right? As long as you have the experience, we welcome you, right? And we have lots of perks, right? We have lots of perks. So when you join us, some of the perks you have is that you would have like a mark. Your mark, the company gives you a mark. I can show you mine. This is mine. I had to put the case so that it doesn't scratch, right? You have access to the co-working space wherever you are, right? So it doesn't matter if you're in a remote town, as long as there are co-working spaces in that city you are, we'll do our very best to ensure that you have access to that co-working space. You can work from home, right? It's just us making sure that it's convenient for you to work from anywhere you want to work from, right? We also have the health insurance. Um, we have for you and your family members. We have the biannual increment. So when you get in, your starting salary won't be the salary that when you eventually leave in. It won't be the same thing basically. So we increase your salaries biannually, right? And we also have two retreats in a year where our team members here or wherever they are, right, in the specific geographical location, travel together and have fun, have recreational activities, and then we bond together. So it's an awesome place to work. There's great culture. The culture at Remote Base encourages growth, right? So when you're satisfied with your work at Remote Base and you want to move on to the next thing, trust me, the companies that will be at your door will be companies like Google, Facebook, and the big tech corporations. So we're looking forward to having an insightful session with you. So Tofumi will tell you about our recruitment process and all the things you need to know when you're applying to Remote Base, how you should position yourself to be the better candidate, right? And just general tips on, how to go through the interviews and all of that. Yeah. Thank you.
Awesome. Okay, really awesome. Okay, really awesome. I think you're already whetting a lot of people's appetites. Okay, so is it Jedediah that speaks to us next about the recruitment processes or what it entails?
No, Tofumi will be the one
Okay.
to talk to us
Talk
about the
to us
recruitment
about the
process.
process.
Yes, yes.
Yes,
I'm
yes.
seeing some questions in the chat. Yes, remote base is for software engineers. It's strictly
Okay.
for software engineers, and we would share the skills that we're looking for as we go on in this session. Yeah. So Tofumi, over to you, please.
Hi everyone. Sorry, I was having a bit of difficulty joining. I think this is my first time using the Telegram video or even the
Oh,
Telegram.
wow.
I never even knew Telegram had something like this. Sorry.
Yeah.
I'm not so good with social media. Thank you so much. I'm so happy to be a part of this session, and I'm happy to, preach the gospel of remote base. Everywhere I go, I always talk about remote base because joining remote base for me has been a life-changing, experience. I've had experience working with a lot of companies all over, but joining remote base, as in the work culture, the everything at the company is amazing. And I can just say that joining them is going to be a life-changing experience for everybody. So let me just take you through our recruitment process briefly. Our recruitment process is it's very straightforward. And what we really try to do is to assess your skills, your experiences, and just try to understand your background, basically. So we start off our recruitment process is started off with the domain test. So when you sign up on our platform, you have to take the domain test. Once you take the domain test and you pass it, so the domain test means that you take a test based on the domain that you're joining us for. For instance, if you want to be taken in as a React developer, you have to take the React domain test. If you want to join us as a Java developer, you have to take the Java domain test. So we have a whole range. We have so much. We have the Angular, we have Java, the Android, we have .NET, we have so much on our platform. So you're allowed to take you're allowed to take the one that is specific to you. So once you pass the domain test and for example, you pass the React domain test, throughout the whole process, you'll be tested on your knowledge of React. That's how it works. Okay. So once you pass the domain test, you would have an HR screening. The HR screening is recorded. You'll be having it with an AI. So the reason why we recently introduced this before it was not there. This is just like a 10-minute session. It's pre-recorded and you'll be discussing basically with the AI. The reason why we introduced this is to help us understand your background more before we speak with you. So we want to see where you're coming from. We want to understand your background and your professional journey so far. So that's why we introduced the HR screening. And also we want to see how you relate with artificial intelligence, because we really don't know where the workplace is going to these days. Honestly, talk about 6 years ago, 10 years ago, we wouldn't be working from the comfort of our homes. Like I barely go from my bed to my workstation and back to my bed daily. In the
Wow.
past, I would probably be on the road, in traffic and everything. And I get everything done. And I work with a team based in Europe, in Pakistan, in the US. I work with a team all over the world. And it's exciting. It's something that we never saw say about. I wouldn't have thought something like this would happen in about 6 years ago, right? So that is why
Yeah.
we've the HR screening in place with the bot. So we want to see how you relate with them. We want to also have a pre-recorded session of you with them to help us understand how you would relate with an AI. So for example, if you have to work with them, we want to see how it plays. So that's why we have that. And then the problem solving session. So the problem solving test is an algorithms test. Okay, so I've had a lot of questions. How is it like? How does it go? Blah, blah, blah. I'll say it's pretty straightforward. It's a very easy session and it's just about an hour, 30 minutes. So because people were complaining about the hours, so we increased it to an hour, 30 minutes. And once you pass the problem solving test, you're almost there. Once you pass the problem solving test, then you come to meet me. I'll be your next point of interaction or the next person you will be talking to. I take 80% of the interview for the Nigerian team, although I have a lot of colleagues based in Pakistan who also take the interviews, but I take most of the African team interviews. So I would conduct the HR interview. My HR interview is basically to talk about the projects you've worked on. I just want to understand your professional experience, really. While the HR screening must have talked about if you're a good culture fit and your background, I would be testing you off what you've already discussed in the HR screening. I will just be getting to know some of the projects you've worked on, some of the industries you've worked in. My interviews don't take more than 15 minutes to 20 minutes. So it's just an easy process to get to know your professional strengths even better. Once you pass the screening with me, trust me, I'm not a very difficult person to please. it's, it's not a very difficult interview. Once you pass the interview with me or with any of my colleagues, then you go to the technical skills interview. So this will be taken with one of our technical leads. it will then test your technical skills really in depth. So that's where the real work is. You have to pass it. So it's a live coding session. You would have live coding. So that's where the background, if you did your domain test in React, you'll be tested on your knowledge of React. If you did your domain test in Java, you'll be doing your test, your screening or your technical skills interview. You'll be tested on your knowledge of Java. So the technical screening, that's the technical skills interview. So dependent on the outcome of the technical skills interview, if you did really well there, the next thing is to move you to our network. But if you did not do so well there, you may have to speak with our CTO. So sometimes we have candidates who don't do so well in the technical interview. We have to move them to the CTO, who has another interview with them, because probably the person who interviewed them is not so sure about their skills. So the CTO takes a second stab at it and, just talks to them and see if they're quality. So at Remote Base, we get only the top 1% of developers all over the world. So we are really trying to get the best of the best, right? So that is why our screening process, it's not tedious, but you have to work for it. That's what we say. You really have to work for it. Our process, I can tell you the test and my interview is just about 3 hours. My interview and the test, that's the HR interview and the test you'll be taking. The whole test process that I have just listed is just about 3 hours. So once you've passed that process, the technical interview, and then you're placed with the network. So when you're placed within our network, what that means is that you've scaled through our recruitment process. And once we have a client that requires your skills and experience, you will be placed with that client. So once you are in our network, once we have that client, you have a matching interview. The matching interview means basically it's just the client testing if you're a culture fit. All our clients, they trust us that we have done like a thorough screen of your skills and your abilities. So all they'll be testing is just to know if you are a culture fit with their own team. So our Silicon Valley-based clients would have a meeting with you, a matching interview, that's what we call it. So from our network, you get placed with them. And we don't like to keep people in our network for too long. So mostly you get placed within, in less than a month, you get placed with our client. So that's our recruitment process at Remote Base. I'm happy to answer any question whatsoever.
Okay, awesome. If you have questions for Tofumi, you can just maybe indicate you want to speak, or you can just type on the Telegram group so that we could capture your questions. Precious, if you get any questions, please just let us know. So do we have questions for Tofumi? If you have them, just drop it on the group. Okay, someone is asking if there are non-technical roles.
We do have non-technical roles, but these non-technical roles are basically for our own internal team. So recently we just recruited a business analyst. We have the position of a technical writer available now. We have that open. Yes, and we just recruited a growth manager also, technical business analyst. We have technical writer. We have another role that is open. I think is a content creator. So if you have any of the skills, you can send me your resume. Feel free to reach out to me. Also, I saw someone ask if we have a limit for the amount of years that is required for the role. Usually we do between 2 to 8 years. 2 to 8 years for the role. But I always tell people that really it's not about the amount of years that you have. We've had developers who have had just 1 year experience, and they've gone through our process and they've come out in flying colors. Like I'm just saying, it's just about how you can market yourself, like how you can market yourself personally, and also how prepared are you for the process. So a lot of people take the interview process, they take it lightly. No, it's not. You have to make sure that you are ready to sell yourself to the company. As same way you're selling yourself to our company, I am also selling the company to you. So you have to understand that and also be ready for the interview, be ready for the technical skills interview. Some people, I've had some candidates who have try to use GitHub for the technical skills interview. It's not possible. If you cheat during our tests,
Wow.
the system is going to tell us that you plagiarized. So it's important for you to prepare yourself. Prepare yourself, prepare your skills academically, if I can use that term, and prepare your skills. Try to up your skills because this is the global market we're talking about. You're getting an international opportunity. And so you have to prepare yourself for that international opportunity. And trust me, it's worth it.
Awesome. Awesome. And someone is asking what are like the salary ranges for these jobs?
So we don't have a salary range at remote base. I always tell people that.
Okay.
What we do is that during the screening process, we ask you for your salary expectation. Once you give us your salary expectation, then we use that. We also use your salary expectation to assess you. So if you tell me, oh, you want a salary range of say about 500,000 or 1 million naira, okay. But then you have to prove to us why you want to collect that particular amount of money. So the higher the salary expectation you give me, the tougher it's going to be for you because you have to explain to us why you deserve to be paid that amount of money. Okay. And
Yeah.
once you give us that proper explanation through our process and we can justify your salary ask, okay, we'll give you an offer that we think best suits your experience and your skills. And if you show us that, oh, we can't afford to lose you because you are a fantastic candidate, definitely we'll give you an offer that matches your expectation.
Awesome. Okay. And someone is also asking, can someone take the domain test for two different languages, maybe Java and Python, React, or Node.js
Definitely, but
together?
you're just setting yourself up in the sense that you would then be tested on those two languages. So I would advise that you take the domain test in the language that you're most proficient in. So if you know, I know that a lot of developers have worked with so many languages in the course of their careers. Fantastic. It's amazing to have that knowledge. Trust me, the knowledges you've gained would actually even come to play in the concept while you're working. We all know the downturn of the technical industry, the tech industry these days, or what is going on in the tech industry, a lot of layoffs and all that. I can tell you that your knowledge of Python, even though you're a React developer, your knowledge of WordPress will come in handy in your role because you'll be able to assist the company even with certain things that are outside of your job description. And I can assure you that if the company, if and any organization wants to do a layoff, they will not lay off their most valuable staff, right? So I can tell you that knowledge will come in handy, but I would advise you that for the sake of this recruitment pattern, for the sake of this recruitment process, it's advisable for you to stick with the ones that you're most proficient in, because that is what we'll be testing your knowledge on. And that is where we'll be testing your skills. So I would advise you to stick to your most proficient language.
Okay. Okay, that's awesome. And someone is also asking if you're opportuned to pass a particular domain test, does it spoil your chances for another test later?
You can take as many domain tests as possible, as I said. You can take or if you want to take all the domain tests, that's amazing, no problem. So once you pass any domain test, you have the option to either move to the next stage or to take another one. Everything is automated on the website. So you have the option. I don't know if you want to share our referral link for those people that want to, sign up or take the process. So
Precious will share. They have their own referral link, so they will share theirs with their
oh,
community.
that's fantastic. Okay,
Yes,
so
yes, they will
once you
share theirs
sign
with
up
them.
on the platform, you can take one domain test. You have the option of either moving forward or taking another domain test. But as I advised, it's essential to take the language that you're most proficient in because that is what we're going to test you on. So please take the one that even if you are sleeping, we wake you and they say, give us this they explain this concept to us in React. You can wake up and just tell me something. Or we wake you up in the middle of the night while you're sleeping. Tell me this about Node. You can easily give us what we are asking you. I think that should be the language that you should take the domain test in.
Okay. Okay. So for everybody, I just shared the link to register on the group. I don't know if we could hear from Jedediah to see so